So I actually just got back from the second ever Boston Balisong meetup, and I was not going to do one in frigid February. Holy shit, all our hands are so cold. I still haven't even unpacked my knives. But the reason why I made one in such short notice was because I was selected to be part of the Corvus pass around. As I am weighing this, let me just say, please subscribe. Most of my viewers are not subscribed, so I'm on the road to 300, and I have like 200 videos, so it'd be cool. The Corvus is designed by Sharp Flippy Boy, and it's gonna be soon Sharp Flip SFB Works. The Corvus clocks in at 4.27, pretty average weight, 4.27 ounces. And he also gave me this pouch with it. It says it says Proto number 1, and pretty decent looking pouch for something handmade. Not necessarily the most professional looking thing ever, but he said it was with some Amazon leather. And so when I first was past this, I thought it was a Gigas, which I actually have flipped very briefly, but it is not the Gigas. This is the Corvus. The Corvus is a very interesting blade. As you can see here, it has a bunch of interesting curves, and it is designed by someone who is semi-local to me. He actually drove from out of state. This is a prototype, but there is a previous prototype that was manufactured by the same people that NRB uses as his manufacturers, and then from that prototype, he then got LDY to manufacture this one and fix some of the few things. I don't have the other prototype, but I do have this one, and it seems to be on. It's actually on different hardware. Interestingly enough, that's some of this is T10 and some of this is T15, I think, or T8 and then T10. Yeah, so one is T10. The rest of these are T8, which is a little funny, and these are also T8. But it's got interesting handles. Has cutouts that are kind of not too unlike the Opus. However, it's channel and not. Nope, I lied. It's sandwich. It's sandwich and not chanwich. And it's got some dots here and a little triangles here, and some interesting cutouts too on the end. Not terribly uncomfortable either. When I did not flip this a ton, so I'm gonna be. It's like a semi first impressions, kind of second impressions. And it's super neutral. This Balisong has like a really nice balance. Fanning this feels really good. I haven't tried chaplaining it yet, but that looked pretty good. Oop. Let's see. Chaplain is so yeah, it is. I have to be a little careful with chaplains because I can't really like it doesn't like hug the finger too hard. This feels really nice. I still I'm recovering from a cut on my knuckle on my middle finger, as well as it was a blood blister from Valley Blade Maid's wrap. So my flipping is not as like comfortable as normal. But I will say that at least the interior channels from the slab seems pretty nice. This surface here is pretty comfortable as far as I can tell. Also, what's interestingly is that like you can kind of see the blade, but it's a little not clear which side is. Like you have to know once you know, but like if you think that this curved tip means that this is the sharp side, you're wrong actually, because it's like a claw downward. Spine is pretty smooth, a little square, nothing too crazy. It's got some nice things here, and then there's actually a bunch of edges. So there's this face, and then there's like this like swedge. It's like one here, and then another surface here, as well as this and the actual bevel grind, and then into this tip. I don't know what steel this is, but seems all right. It is a little sharp. I have to be a smidge careful, but like it is definitely sharp enough to cut. At least scrape my fingernail. Let's try some rollovers. I haven't actually even tried rollovers yet. That feels really good. This is kind of a long Balisong. Let me actually get something from. Let me talk into the mic. Let me get something to compare this with. Okay, let's see. Saren. Oh shit, this is longer than my Seraph. Yeah, this is long. These handles are actually even longer. Oh my god, my knives are so cold. Uh, and everything, yeah, the blade I think is longer too. So this is equivalent to a machine-wise knife length, and is actually just a smidge longer, just because of like these pointy bits down here. But I think from pivot to from screw to screw, it's like relatively equivalent. Yeah. So from the pivot screws to the sandwich screw, it's more or less the same. And then the actual blade itself is just a little longer. The tip is just a little longer than the Marin blade. Ooh. And then if we compare to, let's say, the Orion, you can just see how much longer this is. Ooh. Sorry, I like weird. I do think that, personally, my taste, I wish I had a little more surface area to hold. The interior milling has like very very mild chamfers. They're very thin, so it's not like the most comfortable faces in my opinion. But they are well made. I wish the faces were like, I don't know, I think I wish the holes were a little smaller, but again, this is a preference thing. Definitely has grip, and it's not uncomfortable. I don't personally love when I have like big face hole cutouts, because I want my thumb to be able to like sit on something without it feeling like it's like, pressing in this deep groove. I'm trying to think. There are like other things. Like a lot of times. Sorry, where are my knives? They're all in places. So a lot of times when I have holes, I actually get zippy inserts. So I feel like if this takes off and it gets some inserts, that could be really cool. But also because of how thin these chamfers are, it is very possible for, if there were zippy inserts, for them to just poke all the way through. So I think I wish that the chamfers were maybe a little bit more like wider or thicker. Here, I'll show it too. Like, as you can see, maybe you can see, it's hard to tell. As you can see, there are very, very shallow chamfers, maybe that you can even see them. But like, it's mostly like just, I'm trying to, let me think if there's anything else that I got that has big, that's a weird example. Let me find a less weird example. Unfortunately, all my knives are just not where I think they are, because I, put them in a box. Nope. Unfortunately, I don't really. Oh, okay, here. The 87, as you can see, has like much kind of like deeper chamfers. It almost looks like it's like a bowl kind of groove, and so like if there were inserts for this, it could actually sit comfortably in, and without like poking all the way through. You could even do for these small ones, but that might be overkill. The small ones, I don't even think. It's like if it was like a smaller hole, I wouldn't have as much issue. But yeah, that's something that stuck out to me when I was like first holding it. Again, that's a preference thing, because overall this actually feels really good. The exterior chamfers are actually really nice. It feels good. It's grippy. It doesn't have any crazy sharp edges, especially on the channel when I'm doing like chaplains and twirls. And hopefully my fingers will heal by the time I'm like able to really whip on this. Oh, that feels good. Yeah, rollovers feel really nice, partially because of how long this blade is, like how long the handles and the blade are, and how well balanced it is. It's a really, really nice balance. Nothing too crazy in terms of like weight hotspots. At least that's how it feels. I'm trying to think if there maybe is a little ass weight, relatively speaking, but I'm not even sure. I don't honestly think there is. Like, I was just wondering, like, because of spacers, but like even then, like, this is actually a really small spacer. Like, there's not a ton of depth to it, so there's not even any need for jimping because it's all sandwich surface. That's an interesting thing. So yeah, the spacer, with that being so small, there's not even like ass weight. It's just a pretty evenly distributed weight where, I mean, there's more weight here and there's more weight here compared to this middle section, but it doesn't feel like bad in any way. Like, I guess there's maybe more weight in the pivots, but that's not bad. Ooh, wow. Palm fans on this feel really nice. Holy shit. This is a really cool Balisong. And I'm very excited to see, like, I hope this hits production, and, like, I want to see mod work on this. And, personally, inserts. But, whoa there, hello. Let me just, oh yeah, let me try an aerial, even though I'm dog shit at aerials. That was nice. Oops. Ooh, okay. Let me try an ice pick aerial. Oopsies. Hello. Yeah, it's just so interesting because these handles are so long. But there's also just, I guess it's kind of like the Slift TV2. I actually talked about it in my Marin video. I felt like the Marin handles were smoother and rounder, and the Slifty handles were boxier, which I still kind of believe, but also like the Slifty handles, it's more that they were just, I thought they were bulkier, but it's more just that they feel more square, and there's just a bunch of cutouts both here and like on the speed channel. So I don't know, it kind of makes me think of like sort of like the Slifty in terms of like these handles and in terms of like how it feels. It definitely has like nice momentum in the blade. This is really cool. Yeah, it fans super nicely. You just like it's just really easy to actually, like, if you're not looking at these dots, like you might be confused by like which side is the sharp side, because it might not be super obvious, but like this is the sharp side. But it's a really cool blade, and just like this sort of claw kind of makes me think of the Jawbone, and it makes me want my Jawbone. I think, yeah, personally, I know this is a prototype. I don't know if there's anything that what I will say will change anything in this. I just personally think that if the face cutouts were a little less like the entire surface, it almost feels like there's very little surface here at all. I think if there were maybe a little bit more surface on the sides, it would be more comfortable to grip, as well as I don't think that having a slightly higher amount of material and therefore weight in the handles would be an issue, because I don't think it would add like that much more, and like there's definitely enough blade momentum with how much that carries through rollovers. And the rollovers from the handles are largely because of how long they are. Oops, I was trying to do a whip rollover. At least this is my interpretation. I could be, I mean, it's all my opinion, really. But the Corvus right now, it's got really good, like, it's got good legs. This is definitely a very, very solid base. And this is just the prototype too, so the final version, hopefully, again, I don't know if anything else will even change, but me personally, I think that if the faces were just a little bit more comfortable hold, like, because up here in the pivots is actually really nice. Yeah, I think this could be super cool. And honestly, it's mostly just this top one because that's where my thumb is on a lot. But I would assume that if you're going to edit the top one, you would probably edit the bottom ones as well, just for the sake of symmetry. It's nice. It's a good design. It's really classy, and I think this looks really, like, these are really cool looking slabs. Just like out of context, it's like, these are neat. I think I'll look at the Gigas at some point later just to compare, but it's certainly, like, I mean, just like, even though the ends are a little bit like the Gigas, like, this whole thing does not look like the Gigas remotely. Oop, I accidentally nicked myself just a smidge there. Yeah, this has really nice carry, and it's got a really nice balance. I don't remember, or actually I don't think I was ever told what the estimated MSRP is for this, but if this knife isn't like too expensive, this could be a really nice mid-range. Like, I think this is great. And frankly, if it was like affordable enough, and if the grip was maybe just a little bit more comfortable, I would be willing to buy one of these. I mean, like right now, my collection, I'm actually gonna make a video at some point about like what is on my wish list and what I'm trying to aim to collect right now. And I'm not trying to like add too much more because, as you can probably imagine, I've spent way too fucking much money on this. Ooh, oh yeah, choker fans. Let's do that again. I've spent way too much money on this hobby. But yeah, I mean, this is nice. I certainly wouldn't mind, especially because I like how distinct this blade is. That's another video I'm gonna do too, about like just talking about cool blade shapes. And frankly, it's a really creative design. Certainly, like what I really appreciate is like this is a design that I think has a lot of character, and it's very modern, but it's not like crazy. It's not doing anything that I think is like outlandishly weird or awful. It's unique and it's got a ton of character, but it's definitely a Balisong designed by a flipper, and like I don't know. I think these handles, like the blade is kind of funky looking. I honestly think that the blade and the handles don't share a ton of like design aesthetic. Where like this feels very precise with these again. This is kind of like the Opus where you have like these like hexagons and then these nice little triangles and like these 5 dots. It feels very precise, whereas this one feels more like a blade that has been like forged from like steel, and like it kind of makes me think of like the weapons from Lord of the Rings, like an orc sword kind of thing. Like if an orc sword looked like this, I'd be like, yeah. Or like kind of makes me think a little bit of like Kratos's weapons in the God of War series. Not that I'm even a fan of that. Like the Hades kind of looks like that too. I feel like this could sit alongside. So I think the blade and the handles are like an interesting combination in that I don't necessarily feel like that they would necessarily belong to the same set. But like each of them on their own are really good. And I'll see how my opinions on this possibly shift and evolve as I flip this more, because I'll have this for about a week. And overall, though, as a prototype, this is pretty fucking great. It's also got nice tolerances here. So yeah, like these tolerances are actually really solid. I got like no play. Like this actually has like no play at all. The other prototype had like a little bit of play, but this is really nice. I think the other prototype also had like gold hardware, which would look really cool on this. And like, I think a fucking like black, like a dual tone blackened blade and like blackened handles. I don't know. I think there's so much potential for how much aesthetic and character this knife has. So yeah, at least for now, my only real critique is I just wish that the faces were more comfortable and like without sacrificing grip, it just had a little bit more surface area for me to hold. Yeah, I guess I'll end this out with a trick. So thanks for tuning in. Like this video. I'll link Sharpie Boy Flips' Instagram. I'm trying to remember his Instagram name. I know his real name, but I'll link his Instagram, and hopefully in the future I'll also have like more specs and all that stuff included. But yeah, this is a really cool knife. I'm very excited to try this more. Subscribe, please. I am trying to catch up with other people, and I like to think that I put in hard work, and I do a lot of content, and yeah, I don't know. Subscribe, share it to your friends, and comment your thoughts. What do you think about the Corvus? Are you interested in this? I know that this probably doesn't have a ton of coverage right now. I'm the first person to pass around, but let me know your thoughts on the Corvus, because I think this has a lot of potential to be really cool. Thank you for tuning in, and have a nice one.